Happy Tuesday. You are listening to Smashing Heads Podcast. My name is Hannah, and as always, I am joined by my lovely wife, Zach.
Hello.
And my not best friend, but longtime pal and good time buddy, Jake.
How's everybody doing tonight? I missed it.
It was a little delayed.
Why are you guys good time buddies?
I got it mixed up. I was going to say longtime buddy and good time pal.
It's still a weird phrase.
That's okay.
Yeah, this is episode 13.
Hey,
Lucky number 13.
hold on. So I was doing the Instagram story because I don't think Han has ever been in the story.
She's
but
never
she
wanted
has.
to be.
She has, but she's been censored.
Yeah.
So
If we had the technology, we would have just pixelated her.
it was perfect.
Oh, I wish we
because
could do that. That would have been funny.
I got her introing us, but what I forgot to get was me saying, "How's everybody doing tonight?" So real quick, I'm gonna just do that and put it.
Wait, did you delete what
No,
you
I posted it. So here's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, because I was gonna not be your longtime pal if you deleted that.
The
This
video
is like the
cut
only
before
time
I
it's
could
gonna
say it.
happen.
Have a good night.
Good one. Good one.
Listen,
I'm posting it
That's-
anyway.
Just do that
There you
later.
go.
Just do that later.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's fine.
You
It's
said
October.
It is October.
It's spooky season.
it is.
Zach's scared.
It's my birthday month.
No, we don't care about that.
And you're gonna be the big 30.
That's true.
You're gonna be.
You're gonna be the
old.
dirty.
The dirty 30. Yeah.
You are dirty.
He's already dirty.
You know, I can't help it, guys.
I think he's more filthy than he is dirty.
the filthy thirsty. That's it.
He's real sweaty all the time.
Listen, I can't help it. I'm a full-grown man. Sometimes you just sweat, and so.
Where do you sweat the most?
Oh, good God.
Did you say what do you sweat the most?
What do you sweat the most?
I sweat the most, probably sweat, and then from there it's just probably
if you hold your pee long enough, you'll sweat your urine out.
I sweat life sometimes.
this
You know
is-
they tell you not to sweat it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't help it.
Yeah. You ever seen the shirt that's like "Life's a garden, dig it"? Yeah.
One of my favorite movies of all time, Joe Dirt.
Okay.
I forgot about Joe Dirt.
So before we get into tonight's show, a couple things up top. If you follow us on Instagram or Twitter, any of those things, you know what's coming.
If you don't, go do that now.
Yeah, at Smashing Heads on Instagram. On Twitter. At Smashing Heads Podcast on Instagram.
Yeah, you messed it up. You get on to me if I messed it up.
Yeah,
But this time you did.
It's because I tried to get Smashing Heads on Instagram, and it's a banned account that they won't let me use. So
we don't want to be associated with that.
I do. But anyway, Devin Walker is on the show.
The Devin.
And what a great time to have him.
Perfect time to have him. We've been pushing this because we wanted him to be able to premiere on the show, and we wanted him to be able to talk about his time. We didn't know what was going to happen on tonight's episode. All that we knew was we had some inside information that it wasn't going to be a cliffhanger. It was going to be the full elimination. That's all we knew. So we scheduled it with him. We're recording with him on Friday. If you have questions,
Send them.
Send them to us. Again, hit us up on any of our social media or email us, smashingheadspodcast@gmail.com. We have a lot of good questions so far, and we're really looking forward to it, especially after tonight's
Yeah.
big elimination, which we'll get to later on in the show.
So if you think of a question that's kind of clever that you think we won't come up with, do like that Canadian guy with the snowmobile does, and just send it, dude.
I'm
I think
unfamiliar.
I'm familiar, but I think that's the first impression we've ever gotten from you on this show.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think
do
so.
impressions all the time.
What was that Canadian cartoon? Bobby's World.
Was that that wasn't Canadian?
He was Canadian.
How do you
Yes.
know? You know, Shania.
I watched it.
Yeah, I did. It was Howie Mandel who was
Yeah.
behind it. He
You know-
may have been. I don't know.
Hey, Shania Twain is Canadian.
Are we just gonna name all the Canadians that we know?
Well, you mentioned how if you've been following us, you know this is coming. But the other thing you should realize if you've been following us is that we love and appreciate all of you guys.
That's true. And
Hey, I thought we were talking about Canadians.
actually,
we love
I was
and
about.
appreciate
I was,
Yeah, but you just
lead
took
us right
over.
into it.
I'm supposed to be the host
She's doing it, Zach.
I know she's already
doing it
starting to
again.
cut us off.
because I'm the host tonight. We do what I want to do.
So speaking of Canadians, we had already had it in our notes. That was just an accidental segue.
Justin Bieber.
No, we wanted to shout
He
out.
is Canadian.
We wanted to shout out Canadians because we have enough of a listenership in Canada that Podbean has given us our own Canada category on statistics. It used to just be the United States and then the rest of the world. But now we have enough people listening in Canada that it's United States, world, and then Canada, and then we can break down from there who's listening in Ontario, which I think is the number one.
And then followed by British Columbia and Quebec.
Yeah, and then Edmonton and Nova Scotia and all those are in
You
there.
forgot Alberta and New Brunswick.
Yeah,
I've always wanted to go to Alberta. Heard it's real pretty.
I want to go to Vancouver. That's supposed to be like one of the best NBA cities.
I want to go to Toronto.
I want to see.
That's what I meant.
want to see
That's
all
what I
the
meant.
all the
Vancouver
snowy,
Grizzlies are on my mind.
snowy mooses. I know that's not the correct
It's
plural of
it's
moose.
moosettes. Moosettes.
No, it's moosin. You know, like
Bison.
two boxes is boxing.
That's a Jim. I mean, a Brian Regan bit.
Or like
It
two
is.
fox or vixen.
I don't know.
No, that's a female.
So
While
yeah.
we're shouting out where we get a lot of listeners from, our top 5 here in the U.S., we just want to shoot out a quick thank you to. Thank you to everyone, but
Everybody.
huge shout out to California, New York, Texas, Illinois, and Florida, and our home state.
It's not even in the top 10.
No,
It may not
so-
even be top 15.
I
No.
guarantee the numbers from Florida are probably just all the alligators.
So who knows? Maybe I've floated the idea to Zach here, not Hannah, but I can. That,
I'm glad you chose not to include me in this.
but hey, you
to
know,
be fair,
maybe
we talk more
we do,
than just the three of us talk.
but maybe
we have a group text.
you
We
know,
do.
if California is such a big, place we're getting a lot of listens from, maybe, who knows, we can do a live show at some point. I dream big, you don't. So
I'm not against it.
I'd like to hang out with people.
I have family in California,
so,
We're gonna spend our Thanksgiving in California.
yeah, we're going in
Yeah.
in a month and a half to California.
we could invite your sister and your, what's he to you?
My brother-in-law.
Yeah.
her husband.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say uncle, but I was like, that's not right.
It'd be weird if he was my uncle.
Yeah.
So, no, he's my brother-in-law, and then
Good people.
They have 3 kids. Yeah, they're more Northern California, so I don't know as far as listenership where it's broken down. But Hannah and myself are going on vacation with my family to Palm Springs and then San Diego area in a
I
month
just
or
know
so.
we're going to Disney.
We are going to Disney one day.
So if any listeners would like to grab a coffee with you guys or something and grab a
don't-
burrito, you guys like burritos.
Yeah, I'd rather do that. I don't really
Yeah.
like coffee.
I love
So-
coffee. Burritos can make a rumble in my tumble sometimes.
They can hit you guys up.
Maybe. We'll see.
I'm going to be in Florida probably again
Yeah.
in
Again?
November, yeah. So
Okay.
Okay, well, we're going in
Well,
November
I'm just
too.
going to throw this out here. I have been working 2 jobs and I'm exhausted all the time, so I'm looking forward to my week of doing nothing
Yeah, it's going to be nice.
and not talking to anyone.
Yeah, to just let you guys know, we made a big sacrifice tonight.
Oh yeah.
Especially me and Jake. Hannah to some degree, but she probably wouldn't have watched this
Jake
with
and
us.
I.
So we watch every single Grizzlies game.
Ever.
Summer League, preseason, postseason, regular season. Watch all of them.
Sometimes twice.
Yeah, sometimes. But
The ones we go to, you come home and watch them.
Yeah.
That's right.
Because, again, it's a different perspective. So again, this is a big deal. Tonight was the first Grizzlies preseason game. For the most part, we skipped it. We watched a little bit on my phone. We have a big rookie. It's a big deal, but we skipped it for you guys.
Big physically and he's just a big deal in general.
Yeah, he's number 4 overall pick.
He's
But
also got a big sense of humor.
it overlapped with the challenge and with recording the show. So we said, you know what? This is more important right now. Well, I'm going to try to find a bootleg download of it later.
Well, because people aren't dependent on us to watch a Grizzlies game. They're
No.
depending on us to provide them entertainment
Yeah.
around midnight
Yeah.
and tomorrow and Friday.
Yeah,
and-
we could have just said, hey, we'll watch it tomorrow and we'll record tomorrow, but we don't do that. We have to, we stay consistent to what we've been doing.
We said from our introductory episode that we're going to give you our hearts. I believe we've lived up to that and done that to this point.
I hope
And-
so.
And I'm going to provide my consistency
Yeah.
And so
and structure.
again, we skipped that, and it's for you guys, and we do it again if we had to.
For the boys.
For the boys, that's a Titans reference.
Okay.
The other thing we support.
For everyone.
Yeah,
You don't include girls, though.
I said for everyone.
he did clarify. For the boys is a phrase from the Titans locker room. But
Okay.
Because there's no girls playing
Cool.
football with
Well,
them.
didn't we get like a funny email from somebody?
Yeah, well, I don't. I know what you're trying to do, but I don't think it. We got some good information this week. Let me start off by thanking Neil. Neil is, if you don't remember, the guy who said he was on the other side of 60 that watches it with his daughter. He emailed us, his big fan. He emailed us again this week, thanking us for the shout out, and invited us wherever around North Carolina we can come by and have a home cooked meal. So,
Which I love North Carolina.
I don't know if I've ever been.
Well, the next time we take a solo vacation, we should go that way.
Probably gonna go.
It's historic.
Well, he offered to fix us a home cooked meal.
That's what we just said.
Yeah.
Well, I was reading
Okay.
emails.
Okay.
We literally were just talking about that.
We literally just said that.
So yeah, we appreciate that. If we're ever up around there, we'll try to make sure to hit that up. I just don't know when we'll be there anytime soon.
Quick question to Neil. What kind of home cooked meal can you make?
Well, we're gonna just have to skip along because he can't answer that in real time.
Okay, yeah, but
He can email us.
That's just for him to answer whenever he gets to listen.
Yeah, I don't know when he listens. If
Because
it's
I'm
right
very interested.
I'm not comfortable with this taking advantage of Neil thing.
Yeah,
I'm not taking advantage of Neil.
You're putting him on the spot.
Yeah.
I just want to know what he's offering.
So
No peanuts.
then that's true.
No, any nuts.
She's allergic.
Cashews,
So
almonds, pistachios, hazelnuts. All of them.
we got another email from our friend Brad from Louisiana. I don't know if we've talked about him specifically on the show, but he was just thanking us for the fact that he said we are a podcast that he can listen to and he can be around his wife and his daughter and not have to worry about what we talk about because we keep it a family friendly show and we do that on purpose.
Always PG.
There are a lot of podcasts out there that just uncensored and whatever, and we're pretty upfront with our guests that we do beep out words. We treat it basically as if they were like giving a TV interview, and so we don't want to limit our audience in any way. And again, he just kind of reproved that point to us that he's like, hey, I can have them listen to it because it's something I like to listen to, and I want my family to be able to share it with us. So we do it for that reason.
So hi to Brad's kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? We're a family, right? I may not be married into this relationship, but
You
feel like,
might think you're our uncle because you don't know how that works.
Yeah.
well, I could be something. Yeah. But we're family, including our dogs.
Yeah.
Our
who
dogs are best friends.
They are.
They grew up together. They're only a month apart, like in age.
Buster and I still have some work to do because he,
Yeah, but Razor loves coming over here.
that is.
He really enjoys his time here.
That dog is heaven sent.
He does
Razor.
look like a walking angel.
I'm going to put up a video on my personal Twitter account that I was actually testing out the video function on
Shameless
my camera.
plug.
I'm going to plug my dog. So, and it's got great DC talk music behind it.
So, speaking of the last email we need to get to,
Yeah.
Paul hit us with a lot of hot facts.
He
Stat
always
man
does.
Paul.
Paul has never let us down.
That's our man.
That's true. So
Zach's your man.
I don't like him.
he
Can I trade him in?
he came through and he did provide a legal background to the whole grunt guy situation with Kayla and the contracts and all that. It's way too. It's
I was waiting for
It's
this.
way too long to get into. From what I gather from it, because it's across state lines and it's probably not for a huge amount, probably not worth pursuing. However, I did appreciate him breaking that down for us. However, he hit us with some pretty heavy facts about Nelson, and I'll be the first to admit I probably have undervalued how good Nelson has been on the show.
I have not.
I get it, and it's not that I dislike him. I just didn't realize how strong of a resume he's put together, if that's the right words.
His sensitive talk blinded you.
It may be. I don't know. But yeah, read that one paragraph real quick.
Well, first off, I want to apologize.
Okay.
Because this was about the grunt guy. I spent the entire episode last week saying grunk.
Did you?
Yes.
You did.
And there's
Because I
nothing-
kept thinking Gronk, like Rob Gronkowski.
There's nothing that annoys me more than when I'm listening to a podcast or we're watching a game and they pronounce names wrong. That it's like, how do you not know how to pronounce his name? Now, I know that's not his name, but
That's what he went by.
it's what he went
It's a moniker.
by. So I want to apologize because I imagine that I was really driving people crazy.
Let's clarify. Apologize to the listeners, not to him. because I don't know if he deserves an apology right now.
Well, allegedly things.
Yeah, exactly.
So we could apologize now and retract it later if he were to not allegedly but actually do things.
So
have done things.
Especially and apologize to the listeners because that had to have been annoying. I'm not above calling out.
I didn't hear you say it, honestly.
I said
I heard it several times.
So, okay. So
apparently we talked when you ate a bunch of yogurt last week, and I don't remember that at all.
It drove me nuts.
I don't remember
I
it.
meant to bring some more tonight, but I forgot it. But anyway, first off, Paul mentioned that Grizzly Spurs series was
2011,
awesome, which we agree.
He's a Pistons fan, though, so we got kindred spirits. He's
Right.
defense first team.
But he does have a title.
He does. We don't.
We don't. So
To be fair, they've also been around for like 40 more years.
True.
Yep.
But, I mentioned how, and I couldn't remember my source on Twitter, but they stated that Nelson was 7-1,
Yeah, I
which
remember
we
you saying
alluded
that.
to, like that must mean he's won, what was it, like 5 in a row?
Mm-hmm.
So he said Nelson is actually 7-1-1 in
Mm-hmm.
eliminations. He said there was that Darrell tie
Forgot about that.
that made 0 sense.
Yeah.
So he's not won 7 in a row. He won his, and I'm quoting Paul here, he won his first elimination on Rivals 3 against Johnny.
Yep.
Big win.
It's big.
And then he lost.
Wait, he won in Rivals 3? Because that's the one that Johnny won overall. How did he win an elimination?
Ooh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Keep talking. I'll look that up.
Okay. Anyway, he said then on Invasion, he made the finals and went 3-0. He then won an elimination, because I believe that was when he put out Hunter, too, because, that was a big deal.
Yeah.
He then won an elimination on Dirty 30. Okay, this was it, against Hunter, before he was kicked off for fighting Derek, which we talked about, we brought up. On Vendettas, he won his first elimination and then had a draw. He then lost a purge to the finals, the one with the semi-trucks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he won 1, lost 1, won 5, had a draw, won 1. So 5 in a row wins. He hasn't lost an elimination since his first season, however. His 2 times not making finals have been for fighting and a purge.
Just to clarify, he beat Johnny Riley in Rivals 3.
Okay.
Not Johnny Bananas.
Boy,
Yeah. That confused me, too.
kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
No disrespect.
I didn't mind him, but
No,
yeah.
but I mean,
Who, Nelson or Johnny Riley?
Johnny Riley.
I don't know that I've thought about him since that show and you bringing it up.
We
talked about him
about him yesterday, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's who it was. Because I was like, he couldn't have beat Johnny Bananas because Bananas won that season. Which, by the way, I think Paul can back me up. Maybe I think that's the last time Bananas has won. Was Rivals 3, right?
Yes, it is.
And he's lost a bunch of eliminations since.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Some people say it's the curse of Sarah. I mean, we'll see.
That's well deserved.
Yeah, I mean, karmically, it makes sense if that's what's happening. But
I hope that's what's happening.
So, yeah, we just we wanted to shout those emails out up top. We like getting emails. We try to respond to them when we can, and then if we can't, we at least try to talk about them on the show. So,
But we have reached that point where Shane is probably annoyed.
probably. I mean, and let's be honest. Shane gets annoyed pretty easily.
But he loves us all the same.
Yeah, we know he still listens. So.
Yeah, so let's jump into it then.
Here we go, Shane.
Yeah. So tonight, where do you guys want to start?
Let's start out with the Redemption House
Okay.
because Polly and Kyle finally are going to try to argue about things.
It seemed to me that Polly escalated it quicker. Like it seemed like they all just were kind of in the kitchen.
Well, they were sitting across from each other. It seemed like it was a tense conversation, but it was a calm one.
Yeah.
And then Polly just started getting louder and louder, and then it's turned into a yelling match. Polly said in his confessional in the middle of all of it that he thinks Kyle is only mad at him because Cara wanted to just be friends with Polly.
I literally wrote that whole quote
just
down.
be friends.
Because I was like, what
No.
world is he living in?
No. She never wanted to just be friends.
But let's clarify. At this point, Polly still has a girlfriend back home.
Yeah, because even
And
Kyle was like, "Oh, to
I know.
Polly's girlfriend back home."
Which that's kind of a gross thing to say. But what I quoted that because I was like, he's trying to cover himself in case he has any sort of relationship to salvage when he gets back home. Then the next scene, that's why I wrote it down. Let me just say from my perspective, that's why I wrote it down. The next scene, he said to the entire Redemption House, I should have just came into this game single and then
done
sexual things to Cara. Again, family friendly. And
Well, I wouldn't even said that word.
And so I was like, well, that's a really gross thing to say. I was like, one, again, he's had a history of using that as a way to get back at people on Twitter, saying, oh, I'll do whatever and using her as an object to me.
Yeah.
That's what it comes across as.
It was very much like using her as an item, as a pawn.
Yeah.
Which is not okay ever.
Yeah, it's a gross thing. But the other thing was, he's just like, I should have been single. I should have just came into this house single, which means that his relationship was not important to him at all, which clearly it wasn't, because he obviously cheated on her, and then, they're
not together anymore for sure.
And you know what? If that's fine, at the same time, I never like seeing that with people, because you feel bad for the person who's at home who has nothing to do with any of this.
Yeah.
I mean, regardless of who it is. And so I was just like, this is a really gross couple of phrases from him. And
the whole conversation was gross.
And they both were both were saying
they both were.
Jake, what's your take on it? You're real silent.
Well, here's the thing is, like, I know I'm always interested in your take when it comes to Paulie, because you seem to always have a lot to say about Paulie.
I've had a problem with him, with his like energy in the show from the beginning.
Jake, do you have nothing to say about it?
I just wonder I continue to wonder about Paulie if this is, and it doesn't make it okay, but like saying stuff that like this is a part of this front, this what's the word I'm looking
like persona?
For? Yeah, just
our character,
trying to be
like
this big tough guy that he may not actually be.
The only thing I'll like
not to say he's a wimp or a chump. That's not what I'm saying.
No,
I just mean like
I will like refute that, because I think at a certain point, even if this is an act, it is what he thinks of himself as, and that's the impression that he wants people to think that he is. And so at some point, perception is reality when it comes to things like that.
And
I get what I get what you're saying as far as it may be a front, him trying to like live in this character or this persona, but at the same time, there's got to be some truth, and that's how he wants to be seen.
Yeah, because what I was going to say is, in the middle of the yelling match, Paulie says that something along the lines of him getting his hands on both Kyle and then Zach.
Yeah.
And then they stood up, and Kyle just absolutely towers over Paulie.
He's a lot bigger.
And I know Zach is the biggest guy in the house. So if Kyle is that much bigger than Paulie,
Paulie does know like jujitsu.
He does.
Something.
He does train, and I think a lot of that goes back to he maybe covering up for whatever insecurities and all that stuff. But
I feel like to some degree it's overcompensation.
Again, these are our opinions on it. We're not saying these are facts.
You've heard me say it, though. I've said it here on this podcast that I'm a believer that people act the way they do for a reason. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a reason.
We just don't know. Yeah, I agree. I think it's all for a reason, but having a reason in your past doesn't give you an excuse to be a crappy person.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Okay.
Like, there has to be a line drawn somewhere. I mean, regardless of what your reasonings are for behaving a certain way.
Yeah, at some point you got to grow up or move on or something, even if there was something in your past.
So far, what we've seen of him is he acts like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
So, and if, Paulie having all this training and everything, Kyle may be a giant, but who knows? Maybe Paulie could take...
But what we've seen from Paulie so far in this entire season, he's not capable of a whole lot.
But I'm talking fighting.
I get it. I mean, here's the thing. I don't think either of them would ever fight. Now, I will say...
I think
Kyle said that night, he was ready to go.
Yeah.
It's just fun to...
I can't see Kyle, like, really low down scrapping.
I don't see either of them.
It's fun to pose that question, right? Like, I'm shocked Hannah hasn't asked, like, who would win in a fight between me and you.
Zach.
You think so?
He's just he's German. He's big and broad. That's why I married him.
You do.
He's like 4 times my size.
Because,
it's good cuddling.
When all the boys used to... There we go.
Well, I use him for warmth.
When all the boys used to hang out when we were teenagers, we used to wrestle around a lot.
What?
And I just remember
Did
you
you
just
guys
being.
wrestle a
Some
lot?
people are just born with like natural strength, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like you're one of those. Like you just got
He is.
natural
It's in his blood.
strength.
I will say again,
You don't work out or
He doesn't
anything.
work out at all, but he's like super strong, and I don't get it.
I will say, like, when it came to like my cousin Jake, he was always bigger than me, and so I had
He's so much bigger.
and just by like genetics, like he's just built.
Taller and wider.
He's just built that way.
His bones are bigger.
And
Yeah.
so if he would try to like fight with me, I would have to learn how to like be evasive and like, keep him away. So maybe that's where it all comes from. I don't know. I don't remember us having like these wrestling nights or anything.
No, but you would just. I don't know.
Jake, who did you have wrestling
Maybe
nights
you-
with? I'm very curious about this now.
You would come up behind me and like pick me up, and it felt like you just did it with ease.
He did.
Maybe, I don't know.
But what
This
I-
is the first time you've ever talked to me about this.
But for me, like I was not born
We're going down a weird
with
road.
natural strength. It's always annoyed me because you'll have these guys, come out the womb with just born with a 6-pack and just muscles everywhere and not have to do anything
Who's
for
born
it.
with a 6-pack?
It's
What baby have you seen?
it's metaphorical, but they age, they grow up, and they have these muscles everywhere, and that wasn't me. And not that you had muscles everywhere, but you were strong.
I did.
I didn't even have the strength. So, as I mentioned on the introduction, thankful for the challenge because it caused me to want to get into shape because you see all these guys and they're
I will. I don't know.
gigantic.
Again, both my parents are tall. What she said, my mom's family is like German descent. They're
Your
very-
grandmother's name.
They're very wide shoulders.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the way that we are built for the most part, and so I don't know. If I did really try to focus on working out, I probably could get stronger than
you
what
could
I
get
would
jacked.
think. But
And then I'd look at you all the time.
except that we sent you a picture. I sent a picture to the group message today about Rogan, who is the guy that
No, there's
the guy.
there is jacked, and then there's too much.
So if the listeners don't know, Rogan was the really, really ripped guy on Dirty 30 that came in when Joss and all them did. His back blew out on him running up the first mountain on the Purge Challenge. But I don't know if you guys follow that guy on social media or anything. He's like a male stripper, but he is. I don't know
thought
if
he was a male bodybuilder.
No. It's like Magic Mike type stuff. And he is legitimately like he's probably more ripped than like Joss and them.
The size of his thigh was the size of your body.
It's insane.
Just one thigh.
Yeah, like he is an absolute beast of a person, but I don't know if that would translate. I think he had surgery on his back. I wonder if he'll get another shot back on the show.
I don't know.
Well, the real
My own personal preference, I liked the way he looked when he came on the challenge versus how he looks now. Because for me, it's just a little bit too much.
the real movement, at least here in the South, is the dad bod movement.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of girls are into the dad bod now.
As long as it's not too much.
So, me personally, I'm
Everything in moderation.
not feeling the dad bod, but I'm also not attracted to men either. So, it's not for me.
Jake, are you sure? Because you're the one that started talking about this.
I am sure.
You started talking about the boys wrestling.
You did bring it up.
You brought up all of this.
Look, I'm a straight man, and I think girls are beautiful, and I'll be on the market here. I'm technically on the market, I guess, but
I mean,
I'll be-
now.
You just don't have a
I'll
price
be
tag
open.
yet.
I'll be
Yeah.
open to the market.
You're
in a few
doing
months.
like a soft launch.
That's right.
Like how a
Yeah.
restaurant opens before they're actually open.
That's right.
We
it.
haven't done a full listing yet of you for the public to get to check out.
So, one quick thing before we leave the Redemption House.
Mm-hmm.
Again, Kyle and Polly both said they were about to fight. Kyle specifically said, "I'll fight him right now." Brad was like, "Whoa, like let's calm down." Like,
Yeah, Brad's the voice of reason.
Yeah, I was like, he's being smart and Kyle's being dumb because Brad understands, and Brad should understand because he's fought people on past shows and got sent home, lost.
Remember that time he tried to fight Darrell?
Yeah, and that was the most like memorable one.
He
for
was
sure.
drunk.
And Darrell was like, I don't want to do
and
this.
There were some allegations of other things, more than just drunk. But Brandon talked about that, if you remember.
Yep.
Yep.
So, he's smart enough now to know, like, it's not worth fighting. That's why I don't think, honestly, Kyle and Polly would ever fight on the show.
I don't know. I think they're a little too smart for that. Honestly, I almost want to say Polly is too smart to do it. Kyle might if you pull the right trigger.
I feel like it's almost the opposite. I feel like Kyle likes to have fun, and he would not want to jeopardize that for anything, and he knows Polly's new and has a short temper and could almost push him to the point. I don't think either one of them fight. I think both of them want the other one to hit them so they get sent home.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be like a recurring push each other's buttons.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I will say that watching Brad and Kyle shake hands, pat each other on the back, give them the love you, bro.
They said I love you, yeah.
Yeah, I almost leaned over to you and just kind of tapped you on the shoulder and just looked at you and said, love you, bro.
You didn't, though.
See, Jake's going down a weird road tonight.
I'm telling you now.
My last note for the Redemption House is Kyle's jorts.
You didn't tell me.
You want to say it back?
No. You didn't say it.
He doesn't say those words.
I love you, bro.
I love you, bro.
Yeah. Kyle's jorts are tighter than anything I've ever owned.
I guess I didn't realize.
I like those. I like
Anything
jorts.
I've ever owned in my life, they're so tight. I don't know how he got them on. I don't know how he moved. They were tight.
Was it Austin Powers that said, tight like a tiger?
Maybe. I don't know.
I think that was
I
it.
don't know.
That's a really good impression, though, if it was Austin Powers.
Yeah.
Okay,
Feel good
so
about
we know you're not good at British accents. We
Yeah.
learned that
No.
last week.
Won't do that again.
So back to the main house. Almost the entirety of tonight's episode was just Zach and Amanda fighting like cats and dogs.
Well, before that,
Or cat and dog.
they're not plural. Before that, we see Devon and Nelson talking. That was my note up top.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weird. I was like, we haven't seen them kind of just hang out together. And it turns out they kind of have a shared history. What she said, which she may have been a little hyperbolic on it, but she said they grew up a block apart from each other, went to the same elementary, same middle, and then same high school. Which
how... I wonder if they were years apart, and that's how they didn't know each other.
But they're in Inglewood. I mean, that's a pretty big area of Los Angeles from what I can tell. And, again, there may be thousands of people in each one of the schools.
Yeah.
But she's convinced that because of that, they should be working together.
That's true.
Which is
Well-
a weird strategy. Never seen that one before.
Yeah,
They
it
were all
almost
over there.
seemed like she was trying to sell it to Nelson, and Nelson took the bait.
And, yeah, we know Nelson, he plays with his heart.
He does.
Yeah, he does.
He's all heart.
We
Like
need
you,
s-
Jake.
We need somebody to play this game with their heart, and I'm
Yeah.
proud that it's Nelson, and I'm proud to support him and his heart.
So she's convinced Nelson that they should pair up. And then she turns around and plots with Bananas.
They were playing all sides of it.
Yeah.
And I wrote it down as they were going. I was like, Devon and Jose are really trusting Banana's word on this?
Yeah.
I was like, that's a very dumb thing to do.
But then a few minutes later, Devon and Ashley are plotting against Bananas.
Well, before that, Jose was like, we're not agreeing to anything.
No.
He's like,
We
we're
listened.
listened.
Yeah,
And I was
and
like, that's a smart
the
play.
thing.
Yep.
And so I just wrote a side note. Devon is literally all over the place.
I think they talked about it tonight. They're kind of like the free agents. They're the swing vote on everything. It's
Yeah.
smart for them to play all sides of it.
It's the best way to keep themselves in the game for as long as possible.
I will quickly say Jose is having a much better overall performance in this season as compared to his debut on Champs vs. Stars.
We still haven't seen that.
Much better performance.
I need to go back and watch it because a couple people had questions for Devin that pertain to Chance vs. Stars, and I didn't.
Well,
Who you
we just
texting?
haven't had the time.
I'm looking up
lately.
the age difference between Nelson
He's
and
not
Devon.
texting anybody. I'm the only person he texts.
All right.
That's not true.
And if he's not texting me, he calls me. He called me 4 times while I was at work today.
Did you?
Yes. I was
Seems
with my
odd.
boss.
I was driving.
I was with my
driving
boss all
every
day, and he
time.
called me 4 separate times.
Yeah.
Please don't ever call me 4 times.
And when he didn't call me, he texted me. Okay, so anyway, so
We're married. We have to talk to each other about things.
24/7. So Devon and Jose are really just playing the field, which it was the smartest move for them. But aside from them, Amanda pulls Zach aside, and she is pleading with him to try to open his eyes to the possibility, or for her, the absolution that Tony is going to throw him in the future.
Which I don't. I get the Johnny thing that happened the season prior to this one. I don't think.
Just a quick note before we get too far removed. Davon is 30 and Nelson is 29. They're only like 4 or 5 months apart. So it's, it's possible
they probably
legitimately
were there at the same time.
Yeah, maybe separated by a grade. But
so after this, she probably went home and looked at her yearbooks.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
I wonder if the rest of the challengers did that.
No, so yeah, let me. I kind of I was looking at that information, so I kind of didn't hear all what you said, but I will say there's a clip that's been floating around on social media and Reddit and stuff that even though Tony said he's got Zach's back and he threw bananas in last season, he also like that on that semi challenge, so like it was like right before the end of the finale.
Yeah, it was like the last thing that they did.
Him and Kayla and Cara were like the troika, and they got to decide who stayed and who went, or who was up for elimination or whatever.
Yeah.
He wanted to throw Zach in. He told both of them, he's like, I want to throw Zach because he's my biggest competition for this finale. I think I can beat all the other ones. And,
I remember him saying that.
And Cara and Kayla were like, we're not throwing in Zach. Like, we have his back on this. Anyone else? And he's like, are you sure I really want to throw in Zach? And I get that's a smart move play-wise.
There wasn't anything personal.
It wasn't, but again, I think Zach's a little naive to think that he wouldn't do the same thing again. This was like 6 months ago. It wasn't like it was 4 years ago. You know what I'm saying? It was the last season.
And so I totally understand Amanda's side of it. She's like, hey, his best friend, the one person he looked up to more than anybody, he threw him in and got him eliminated. What makes you think he's not going to do it to you?
I understand both sides. I think both sides are flawed in their reasoning.
Yes.
And both are blinded by what they perceive as their allegiance to certain people. Jimmy had the best tweet of the night. She said they both were kind of, I'm paraphrasing, but it was dumb for both of them because, we'll get into it in a minute, they are setting themselves on fire to keep someone else warm. At the end of the day,
it's you.
It's you and your partner, and that's it. It doesn't matter about your allegiance to anyone else. You can't win any money without your partner.
Yeah. And I am so Team Zach because if he wins this, he can buy Jenna a big ring and a big house, and they can live happily ever after.
You're going to have a lot of kickback on that. There's a lot of people that don't like Zach right now.
I totally understand. Yeah. I will clarify this. I was on Amanda's side tonight because she was just trying to help him understand, hey, he backstabbed one of his best friends. There's a good chance he does it to you. You can't just put up a wall and say it's impossible.
I will say
it was frustrating.
Let's call it what it is. I think they're probably both the two worst communicators on a team together.
Absolutely. This is one of the worst team pairings.
Neither one of them want to listen to each other.
I mean, look at what happened.
Yeah.
So the logical thing, though, right, would have been to, as painful as it may have been, to side with Amanda because she does have the numbers.
Exactly.
I agree with that. I thought she was going to cave. I get why Zach just walked off and said, well, we're going in, because that's kind of a power move to try to, like, hey, are you really going to stick to what you do? Here's the Lavender group, Lavender ladies. They have a lot more members.
They have a lot more power in the house.
They do, but I get Zach, and as much as I don't really like saying it, Johnny and whatever, I get their point. You can't take all of them to the finals.
No, but because she has such a large group, she's got a better chance at the finals.
Yeah, and I get it.
That's more people voting in her favor until they get to the final.
Yeah, I agree. She definitely had the numbers for sure.
It would have been the smarter move to side with Amanda.
Yeah.
And if Tony and Bananas were the ones who went into elimination and they came back, then good for them. Zach and Tony and Bananas don't have anybody backing them up.
No.
Except maybe Cara and Marie, but they're so flip-floppy that you can't really determine where they're going to go with this.
Yeah, I don't know how it's going to all play out like as it goes on. I think it just goes to prove how like stubborn they both are, because they literally put themselves in redemption because they couldn't come to a decision.
Yeah.
And honestly, I like that that's the way that it's played, because I like how TJ's like, listen, if you guys don't come up with an answer in 10 seconds, like, you're both going in. So that forces you to figure something out, and they didn't.
And I totally agreed with him doing that, giving them 10 seconds to either come together and pick somebody or be forced in.
Yeah.
And so Amanda said, first and foremost, she said, I'm not budging. This is who I vote for. And I understand Zach wanting to pull a power move and all, but I do think it was kind of a butthole move, because that kills her chances at this money also by putting themselves in elimination willingly. The whole thing was just frustrating and stupid. They did it to themselves. They really did.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really think when Zach went down there, I understand how Amanda felt like she needed to stand by her word, one, to show her loyalty to her alliance, but also to show Zach that, hey, you can't pull this over me. But when she realized that he was dead serious about going into elimination, I really wanted her to just yell out Hunter and Ashley's name.
I did too at that moment, because
I wanted her to cave, because I thought it was really stupid for them to walk into elimination willingly when they were the only team in the whole house that had safety.
Yeah, I agree, because to be fair, Hunter and Ashley came in late to the game. They weren't part of the original people that had been there from the beginning. And again, it goes back, no matter how dysfunctional your partnership is, no matter whatever, at the end of the day, they're the only person that can help you win money. And they knew that they weren't going to communicate well. And to be fair, again, I know some people, even like Shane, if he's listening, the Lavender Ladies, their alliance had more members that they could potentially burn than Tony than Zach felt like he had at the time. He's like, I have one person that I trust in this house. And we don't know what their lives are like outside of this show. I mean, they may have been legitimately in like the last 6 months become like best friends. I don't know. It's a tough situation for both of them, because it was literally they were having to choose between their own alliances or their own partnership. And they were both of them, blinded by their alliances that they forgot about their own safety. They were the only team that was safe. This was all 100% self-inflicted.
Absolutely.
If they would have voted instead of burning their vote on whoever.
So that's where it started.
Yeah.
And
they were still going to be they were still going to be fine.
If they would have voted for anyone else, it would have been done. It would have just been over.
And one of those people, one of those teams, regardless of who they voted for, one of the teams that went in was going to go to Redemption House.
Yeah.
And had a 1 in 6 chance of making it back in.
I don't remember anymore. Something like that. 1 in 4, 1 in 5. I don't know.
But that's where it started, was in the voting process, because when they did that, you basically threw away your power with their vote counting.
They literally threw away their power vote. Yeah.
And honestly, in my opinion, and apparently everybody else's opinion, they were the strongest team in the house.
They're good. I don't know if I would say they're the strongest in the house, but they're definitely up there.
They have consistently been in the top.
Yeah, and they're good at the dailies. That's the thing. Like again, they had the power. This is all self-inflicted.
Yeah.
And it all could have been avoided. Like, there's like 8 different steps along the way. They could have been like, in the deliberation, hey, let's play this a little bit smarter. Or they could say, but it goes back to, that they don't communicate. Mm-hmm. If they would have said before the elimination, they know that there can be a tie. We've already had that come up this season.
Yeah.
And the power couple or whatever the power team had to pick. So they should have thought that through on the front end, said, hey, if there is a tie, what are we going to do? Because they needed to figure that out, because obviously they were stuck and at a place to where...
They are two very strong-willed personalities.
I would
Crazy
say the two most stubborn in the male and female sides of things.
Absolutely.
When you have those kind of personalities with their mind made up, they're not going to budge. And you made a great point just now. I'm a big believer in communication. If you're not communicating on things, especially when you're a team, you're not going to really see much, if any, success. And the fact that you had to know it was coming because you've seen it before, that if there's a tie, it comes down to you making that call. Like, they had to go into this with some sort of decision. They had to. Maybe
Worst case scenario type thing.
And maybe the best thing to have done was to, have one side. If it's the Labrador ladies, just throw Jose and Devon in, so you don't even have this problem. I get you want to make a move,
but it backfired.
You backfired.
I think they were hoping that if it was a tie, that Jose and Devon would be one of the teams tying.
But they knew that
knew everybody was
they're
voting.
so close to everyone at this point. They should know who's voting for who,
Yeah.
other than Jose and Devon.
Yeah.
And let me just applaud Jose and Devon. The only other team I can think of, and maybe I'm jumping the gun here, that has come in as rookies and lasted as long and done as well was Jordan and Marlon.
Oh wow.
Which they may be
rivals too.
They may be the best rookie team to have ever come in because they made it to a final.
And he never came back. I don't think Marlon.
No.
Maybe one more.
And I'm talking team. I'm not talking individual performance. Whatever.
It was the same type of scenario. It was a rivals. Let's be honest. This is rivals like 8 at this point.
Yeah.
They're just naming it different stuff.
So I mean, the fact that they went through this voting process and one team voted for them just as a burn vote.
Yeah.
That speaks to how well they're playing the game.
I'll say yes and no. I agree that they've made it a lot further than I expected. I still don't think that they're a strong team, and I think that's why they've made it that far, because no one is scared of them at this point. And so at this point in the game, everyone's feeling the pressure of, it's $1 million, it's whatever. We know people can come back from redemption. So they're like, we need to make some big moves, because following Shane and Nelson's example last week, big moves can pay off in a really big way. Like,
it's a high risk and high reward.
It's the biggest risk. I mean, except that not really, because worst case you go to redemption, then you have like a 1 in 5 chance to come back. But
the difference between them is they have good chemistry, they communicate, and they were all in on that, both of them.
Yeah,
Shane and Nelson work very well together.
I thought you were talking about Jose and Devon.
No, not when I made this statement.
Okay.
I'm talking about Shane and Nelson.
Yes,
now.
they're not best friends. Shane, we love him, but he's probably one of the most difficult people on the show to work with, because he's similar. He's very strong-headed in his opinions, as far as like what he thinks is right, and it's hard to convince him otherwise.
But he's also a lot more strategic in his decisions.
He is, and he's been around this stuff a lot longer.
It's not just a matter of stubbornness. It's a matter of, this is what's going to play the best for us. Any power moves that he's pulled, it's been more of,
it's been very planned out.
She just made a great point that Shane, when he makes these moves,
he's thinking of him and Nelson.
He's thinking of him and Nelson. Zach's move was, I'm thinking of Johnny and Tony too.
Yeah,
which I don't think is the correct way to play this game.
I think he thought of Johnny and Tony before himself.
Yes, and that goes back to Jimmy's point, and I think Amanda was too, and that's their own fault. They're thinking of their alliances before their team. Like, basically the way it is like, that's like if they were married, like, they're not thinking of their spouses, they're thinking of the like surrounding family members. And ultimately, at the end of the day, you can't worry about that. You got to make sure you and your spouse or whatever are on the same level. You can't worry. You can love them and be cordial and whatever and have their back. But at the same time, it's got to come down to what you two decide is what's right for you guys, and nothing else matters.
What did Shane say, the Big Shane episode, when he basically threw that daily, because that's what was going to work best for them, him and Nelson, is that...
And look, they're still here.
These guys aren't on my team.
They were for that day.
Nelson is on my team.
Exactly.
And so I think Zach kind of has to change his thought process and going forward, is that the fact of the matter is Johnny and Tony are not on your team.
No.
Ashley is on your team.
And
Amanda, I'm sorry. Amanda's on your team.
Yeah, and I think at any moment, I get how strong of a connection it seems like Zach and Tony have. I think any of the three of them would undercut the other two.
If it came down to it.
You've changed my mind. I believe you. I think because I started off saying I don't think Tony would do it, but
I do.
Now that I've talked about it, we've talked about it, I think he would.
Yeah.
I know he would.
I love Tony as a person.
I really like Tony now.
I love Tony. I will not put it past him to pull the rug out from underneath Zach,
Like-
even after what Zach did for him.
Yeah, again, it goes back to Bananas was like his mentor in quotes.
So that's who he learned from.
And that's why he's a vendetta with him this season, is because he threw him to the wolves, essentially, and had Devin and them going after him. And he didn't have to make that move, but he said it's the right strategic move from the point of the game, and it makes sense. We've seen this over the years. We've watched these for how many seasons? At the end of the day, the only thing that matters are the people that are on your team to win the money. Nothing else should matter, and it's not personal. They all can be friends all day long, but at the end of the day, they have to understand that if you were in their shoes, they might blow up in the moment, but down the road, they'd probably get it. The only one that's like irreconcilable would be like when Bananas took the money from Sarah at the end.
Unforgivable.
Yeah, because again, if it was like sending one of your best friends into elimination, they know you're playing for money too. Yeah,
you're competing for a paycheck.
Yeah, and so I don't. And going back to all this, I wouldn't blame Tony for throwing anyone that's not Bananas, throwing them in at any point to save themselves, because it's a smart play.
I would not be mad at Tony if it came a couple weeks down the road where it's not very many people left in the game and he really doesn't have much of a choice and chooses to throw Zach under the bus.
Zach may not make it back.
Yeah. Exactly. That's the thing. And so that's why I wouldn't be mad at Tony if he had like one of two options and one of those was throwing Zach under the bus. I wouldn't be mad at him for that. But I'm kind of mad at Zach for doing this because it's so stupid.
Again, I think everyone involved was at fault tonight. It's all like it goes back to the old saying like to cut off your nose to spite your face. Like they are so short-sighted in being loyal and allegiance and all that they got caught up in the moment and didn't think this is $1 million that we're playing for.
I think both moves made by Zach and Amanda individually were out of spite. I think because she said she wasn't budging on her vote, he thought he was going to show her who the boss is in the partnership, and she decided to stay up there out of spite because he tried to pull a move over
It was
her.
a power move. His move was 100% a power move.
And it was uncalled for in this setting.
Yeah, at the same time, in that setting, I was like, if he knows he's not going to change his vote, that's the only move he can make to try to sway her, is to say like, hey, well, if you're not going to change, see how strong her alliance is. And to her credit, but also to her detriment, she just refused.
She stood her ground.
Yeah, and so that screwed both of them. And I'm not blaming her, and I'm not blaming. Actually, I'm blaming both of them. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. I'm blaming both of them. It's not one-sided in all this. They're both
at fault. It's a 50-50 choice.
Yeah, and again, he said some things earlier on which we didn't even get to that were definitely across the line when he told Joss to come get his whore girlfriend and things like that.
Yeah.
That's
not okay.
Yeah, that's very over the line.
So anyway,
I don't think there'll be one of the teams like Brad and Kyle that are hugging it out and oh, love you.
No, never. So they decide, because they can't decide, that they're going to be the team that goes into elimination, and they get to choose who they go against. And they choose Davon and Jose, I think because they think that's going to be the easiest win.
It should have been.
Well, and that's the only team not aligned.
Yeah,
with anyone,
that's
so
they're the free agents.
So Davon comes down, and then she cries, but mad cries. She says it's not sad. It's because she's
broke.
mad. She's mad crying. And then Ashley and Hunter both are calling her a liar while she's mad crying and yelling at everybody. And then she goes off on them.
She these peopled them is what she did.
Did she?
She did.
Yeah,
she also said some phrasing to Ashley directly, basically F-U-B.
Careful now.
Yeah, it's fub. She said fub, and that was Shane's whole argument from a couple weeks ago. Is she's allowed to call someone else that, but I can't.
She did.
Yeah.
She did throw up
little
some sign
signs.
language with it.
That's what it was.
And
That is some real emphasis to
you
it.
know that's got to be pre-planned. Like she's like, I know I'm going to say it, and I'm going to get him with these signals.
She got it.
And
She hit it
it's gonna
strong.
look so tight on the TV.
I wrote during that whole thing. I was like, she's breaking. I was like, she's done.
Yeah, in the middle of all of it, I said out loud, if she can't handle this much, there's no way she will ever come back on.
Yeah, you said
'cause she can't handle it.
You said that, and then I brought up because I didn't know if you guys knew. She's been very vocal on Twitter and stuff. She's like, I'm not doing another challenge.
She mentally she can't handle it.
Yeah, she can't take it. And again,
there's a lot of people that can't.
Honestly, though, like they are rookies. They're from an outside show. All these other people know each other for the most part, to some degree. It happens. I mean, again, Wes's first season on Fresh Meat 1, he came in with the Real World Austin Alliance. They all were brand new, same as the Big Brother people. Everyone else knew each other for the most part, so they were thrown into every elimination.
Wes went into every single elimination until the final. It made it to the final.
Yeah. I mean, it just happens. It's not like they're being like mistreated because they're from rookies or from another show.
It's
but
like your freshman year.
It puts a target on them.
You have to go through it.
Yeah, it puts a target on their back just because they're not aligned with anyone.
Yeah. And so the next season that you're on, your sophomore year, you're not going to be the target. There's going to be another new group.
But again, this team will not be back.
No, never. So there's all that. And then we finally get to the actual elimination, which seems kind of difficult. And we have the mercenaries come in.
But before we get to the mercenaries, I will say, going back to Jake's point, I will say good for them for making it this far as a rookie team.
Yeah, very impressed.
Especially when basically every part of their alliance has been thrown out to some degree. Because again, as far as just competitors and whatever, right now I would much rather see Davon and Jose back at any point than Polly and Natalie, because they're actually like trying and doing things and not just laying in a house for a month and a half or
Absolutely.
whatever.
Out of the rookies that we got for this entire season, those are the two that I'm glad have remained in the house.
So yeah, so let's get into the mercenaries.
So we finally get to see Devin, and they showed a flashback clip of him talking to Bananas. And I don't know if I said this out loud, but I know I thought it really hard. I forgot how much I missed Devin.
You said it out loud.
I love him on this show. He
delivers.
It's
like,
so good.
He's diabolical, and again, the only player it reminds me of is Wes, and the fact that he loves getting in your head, and he's calm about it.
He doesn't raise his voice.
Yeah, like again, he's kind of like the opposite of Polly. Like, Polly's like, I'm going to be as loud and in your face as possible, to the point to where no one takes it seriously. Devin is very methodical. He's very not scared of him, because he gets it. Like, it's a mental game as much as anything. If you can get in their head, you can throw them completely off of whatever. And again, it goes back to Wes, who him and Wes are really good friends, and they still hang out.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
The greatest part of this whole thing was how giddy Nelson was.
Oh my
He was
goodness.
so excited.
Nelson lost his everything when
TJ
he saw Corey.
TJ announced,
It was
you
like-
guys remember Corey and Devin,
It was like
right?
rhetorical. Like, everyone knew.
And Nelson goes, yeah! and then they go to start the challenge, and Nelson's just in the background, Team Young Buck, like the whole time.
He's
and it
just
was
losing it.
It was great.
Yeah,
I loved it.
It was pretty funny to see this man so excited to see this other man.
So quick note for our listeners. From what I've read online, again, we try to avoid any spoilers or anything. Clearly, at the beginning of the season, there was some sort of an issue happening where Bananas didn't have a partner randomly. He was the only one coming out of the casket. It was supposed to be Devin because of going into vendettas. Devin took him out and whatever.
But Devin had a family emergency. Couldn't come.
Devin's dad, kind of unexpectedly, from what I can gather, passed away, which is awful. I understand why wasn't on the show. So he goes to take care of that. They didn't think he was going to be coming back to the show, but what happened was it was supposed to be the mercenaries were supposed to be Corey and Darrell. And
You mean Corey and Darrell?
yeah, I emphasized it the wrong way.
Yeah, Corey and Darrell.
But I had Darrell in my mind.
Darrell was supposed to be here.
Yeah, Darrell was supposed to be the mercenary with Corey because they have a history of things going back to whenever, I don't remember. But
yeah, but that would have been a powerhouse.
if Darrell would have came in this late in the game again with Corey, like that is a tough team, and it would have made good TV. I'm glad it's Devin because we all like Devin here.
So I'm not.
But I'm a big fan of Darrell too.
Yeah, we like Darrell.
I'm not so sure. Even Davon was just like mesmerized by Corey and Devin as competitors. They I'm confused what's happening right now. Nobody can see it, but I'll move on. So I can't remember Corey performing that well.
Yeah, that was the big confusing takeaway. Like Corey made a final with his cousin Mitch.
I forgot about that.
But
that season was
it was
pretty
weird.
weak.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Right? Like
it was. They all were acting like Corey was legitimately like Wes or Derek K or somebody
think,
that has like a million elimination
I
wins.
think he wanted to be perceived that way, and so he kind of like talked it up to make other people start to think maybe that way.
I mean, he's definitely a big name.
Yeah, but he's not as much of a performer.
He's not been a powerhouse.
Yeah, and like the guys at Barstool Sports used to call him popcorn muscles.
Yeah. It again, it goes back to me, Devin would be the one I would be more afraid of. Like physically, if you're just looking at a physical standpoint, I think Devin would agree. Corey is the one that you would be like, oh man, I'm worried about him.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always come down to that. Like,
well, even if it's a physical elimination, if you get into your opponent's head and get them out of the zone, they won't perform as well.
like Abram and his brother Mike against that other team.
And I mean, regardless of what kind of elimination you're going into, if you are not mentally prepared for it, you're not going to win. You're not going to perform well. You have to be kind of like in the zone.
Yeah, it was a weird thing because they all were acting like Corey was like this huge name guy that could just take out anyone at any moment, and I never have thought of him in that way.
Never.
No.
Even now.
Tonight they clearly killed it.
He was a part of one of the worst performed challenges. Him and Nelson in elimination.
The soccer one?
The soccer one.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. It was so
Which was
bad.
just pitiful to watch.
It was so bad. Oh, my gosh. It was so bad.
Which Nelson ended up winning.
But almost by default.
Yeah. So.
Like, I could have done that way better.
Yeah. But nonetheless.
I did forget about that one.
Nonetheless, we come to find out they have to beat both teams.
Yeah, I saw people.
It makes it more fair.
Well, I saw people on Reddit already complaining going into the night saying, I can't believe they're going to give a new team a chance to be in this house and only just have to like beat someone in an elimination. Then TJ says, oh, by the way, if you want to make it in, you have to beat both teams. And going into this elimination, I had been hoping Devin and Corey, one, because one, we're interviewing him this weekend, and two, we're all fans of Devin.
He's your favorite.
I don't know if I would say he's my favorite, but
currently.
After Wes, Devin is his favorite.
He is the archetype of the type of competitor that I really like.
Yeah.
Because, again, he understands a side of the game that a lot of people don't. Going back to last season, again, if you remember or if you don't, he's the one that orchestrated the whole thing with getting Nelson to blow up the Kaylee and Bananas relationship that screwed up the whole thing with Natalie and Bananas.
Yep.
And it wasn't anything dishonest. He just like sowed the seed and watched it flourish.
Well, and you talk about how when he's talking trash, he's quiet about it. He's not loud.
He's also hilarious.
Wes used to be the same way. He would have guys like in his face, like fuming, like CT or whoever, and he would just sit there and just take it, and that drives him crazy because you're not reacting.
What was the one season that happened? It was like the first or second episode. Was it Frank that was screaming in his face saying, I don't like you? And Wes literally had his feet propped up in a chair on the back patio.
It's happened
It definitely
so
happened
many-
with CT.
And he was
times.
just smiling, and he's like, I don't care.
Probably
I don't
the
care.
one I was thinking of specifically was CT in his face against the bunk beds on Rivals 1.
Yeah.
No, this may have been what was Frank and Zach's first season?
Battle of
the Seasons. It was that one. It was like the first episode of Battle
Oh
of the
yeah,
Seasons.
because West got eliminated.
It was the first
one.
night.
But not only does he have this quiet kind of trash talk, he has this quiet confidence because the first thing when they find out they got to beat both teams, he just looks over at Corey, gives him a fist pound, and says, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
Just real confident,
And
real quiet,
they
real
performed
calm.
incredibly tonight.
Well, they figured it out.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
the first thing I typed down in my notes is like, is this an advantage if they make it through this first deal? Because if they beat the first
They're
team,
tired.
because
That's what I was thinking.
yeah.
well, I was thinking the other way.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking like they're going to figure out how to play this game, and if they get through the first one,
But also the other team that hasn't gone yet is watching.
yeah.
Well, we don't know. They didn't say one way or the other.
Well, I think
we would
everybody's
assume, but honestly, we might need to go back and look.
watching. I don't know.
Because they have done that before, to where they make the other team not watch certain things. If that's the case, then Corey and Devin had a huge advantage going into
Yeah.
round 2. So they probably were watching. Now that I think about it, but yeah,
But wasn't it Zach that figured it out first?
Zach-
And then they followed suit when they saw how well it was working?
Zach, to his credit, was the one who figured it out. It seemed, or they may have shouted at him from the audience.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but
Zach is really smart, but man, he's stubborn. I'm still so mad about this.
Going back to the whole your perspective on it, you thought they would have an advantage. My perspective was I thought they'd have a disadvantage because they'd be tired, so it evens out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I think Devin appropriately nicknamed his team. He called himself the Mastermind and Corey the Murderer.
did he? I didn't.
He did.
Yeah,
I
I
wrote it
missed that.
down. It was right before they started.
That may be the. Oh, I remember. Yeah, I do remember now.
He's like, I'm the Mastermind and he's the murderer.
It was kind of in passing, but he just
Yeah.
that may be the episode title for tonight. Because we definitely need to like spotlight them for sure.
So it starts off, Zach and Amanda take this huge lead, right?
It's like 7-2 or something like that.
And they're
Yeah.
playing it,
I thought for sure they were going to win.
hanging on the rope. Of course, we see Zach pops himself in the face, and it's pretty brutal looking. That couldn't have
Yeah.
felt good. And they hang on 7 for a while.
Yeah.
And Devin and Corey catch on. They figure out, like, okay, well, we're just going to have to jump on the rope. We wondered if that was even allowed.
Yeah,
at
we
first.
were wondering by the look of it. I was like, I don't know if this is legal, but I was like, maybe there was a discrepancy in the rules that it technically wasn't illegal. So
I said, if Zach and Amanda were doing it this whole time, there's no way they're going to get disqualified because Corey and Devin were also doing
well,
it.
me and Jake brought that up before Corey and Nelson started it.
Oh,
We were
yeah.
like,
Well,
sorry.
Both teams were doing it,
Corey and
and
Devin.
so there's no way they could have disqualified both teams and not even letting Jose and Devon a chance at elimination. Regardless,
Yeah, it was weird because my whole thought on it was, I wonder, like, if Corey and Devin lose,
You got
the
Nelson
first-
on the brain tonight.
well, she
huh?
said earlier, and it threw me.
I know we've been talking a
Yeah.
lot about Nelson.
We are really
See, I'm trying to say
struggling
Devin.
with him.
Anyway, so they have one left.
I was in the middle of a thought.
I know, and you are struggling.
No, I'm not. So what I was saying was, if they lost, they're automatically going into redemption. It seems. So what? It was just I guess it was just for pride at that point to go against Devon and Jose to just try to beat them because they don't have anything to gain. I mean, they're going into redemption regardless. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm glad it worked out the way it did. Again, kind of a dramatic. I think at one point they got both the 8 and 8, and then just Amanda just couldn't pull her weight.
Well, and she was
trying.
I don't know that she could have done
That's
anything else.
like
No.
literally her body weight wasn't enough to
Yeah.
really do much.
My only other note from this was before they even started, the mindset that Zach and Amanda were in was, you knew from the get-go that they weren't going to perform 100%. And I wrote down that I almost think that Zach was so fed up with Amanda and so sick of being stuck with her as a teammate that he almost subconsciously or consciously chose to go in just for the chance of getting away from her, even if it meant getting out of the game.
Well,
I
will
even
say that
he's going to Redemption House regardless.
that's what I was going to say.
But
yeah.
I mean, even Amanda said, she's like, we're not going to pull the double cross.
Yeah, again, everyone was like so overly emotional,
Crying a lot.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
There was a big group of them all crying. Like, they're literally going to redemption, and like there's a whatever 20% chance they could be coming back.
Yeah.
Well,
It's not a big chance. Also, I do think it was really dumb that she had to do this entire thing in jeans.
That's their fault for this. No, I don't think
Yeah.
it's dumb because they screwed themselves on all this.
I get it, but at
Zach
least,
got lucky. He
at
had
least
on the stuff
Zach
underneath.
had on normal clothes that he could compete in. But Amanda was stuck in jeans.
And a hoodie.
That just sucks.
Yeah.
I will say, I do think that if you're talking about support from your alliance or whatever, I think there's a greater support from the Lavender ladies because Hunter and Ashley were actually legitimately upset and bothered that they didn't step in.
They were, and then Ashley was like, "But I don't like my vision's kind of blurred."
But they at least thought about it, whereas Johnny and Tony, I don't.
They would never.
Yeah,
done
they
it.
didn't
No.
care.
No.
I will say, Ashley, towards the end of it, when they realized that Zach and Amanda were going to Redemption House, Ashley looked like she was either in the process of crying or about to start.
I will say, kind of going back to, I don't know if that's necessarily a knock against Johnny and Tony because, again, at the end of the day, they know they're the only ones that matter to each other.
Yep.
So
They're in the right mindset.
there's plenty of things that we can all say about Johnny, but that's not something I would fault him for. Like,
No.
again, if you have a team that's willing to screw themselves and go into elimination for you,
Take it.
yeah, let them do it.
Yeah.
Sit back and let it happen.
It would be dumb not to.
It's going to be interesting because you've got a couple of different teams that where one person is aligned with Team Young Bucks who have numbers now, and then another person in the same team is aligned with Lavender Ladies.
Shane and Nelson. Yeah, that's the biggest one.
Hunter and Ashley.
Yeah, good point.
And then, I don't really know where Devin lies, but Corey with Young
So
Bucks.
we'll probably be with Young Bucks.
I think
just
Devin
because
would
Corey.
align with anyone that's going after bananas.
But the fact
Yeah.
is that, I mean, it's going to be a miracle, I guess, if Cara and Marie or Johnny and Tony aren't going into elimination.
Cara and Marie and Tony and Johnny, to me, are the low figures in this group because the other teams have numbers.
They have to win the daily.
Yes.
If they have any chance.
Which both teams are capable of winning
They
the
are.
dailies, especially now that Zach and Amanda are gone and Brad and Kyle are gone.
But there are still really good teams in the house.
Yeah.
They're in for an uphill battle. They got a
you've
lot
got Joss
against
and
them.
Sylvia.
Again, we don't post spoilers. We don't know spoilers. None of us know what happens this season. I have a feeling that it's not going to be Johnny and Tony or Cara and Marie in the final, or winning at least.
Yeah.
Well, we've said it, right? That this is a real changing of the guard this season.
It seems like it. But I will say, I know some things about the cast for next season. And we could get in that, maybe not. But it definitely, it's not as much of a changing of the guard as you think.
Anyway, because we're running on time. I know you don't like going an hour and a half, and I feel like we're going to get there tonight. Bananas, after Devin and Corey win both eliminations and realize they're coming into the main house, Bananas almost seems like he's trying to hide how nervous he is about that. And he's already trying to stir the pot between the Young Bucks and the Lavender Ladies, saying, "Oh, Shane and Nelson, who are you guys going to side with? You're going to be split down the middle," and stuff like that. And then Shane comes and yells at Bananas, saying, "Everyone here only likes Tony,"
Yeah.
which I think is true.
Other than maybe Cara.
Other than Cara, I think that's true.
Because her and Tony don't get along.
Yeah. And so I just thought that was hilarious.
He's not wrong.
Johnny responds to confrontation like this like he's 14.
But he's done that
Like
his whole challenge
Like
career.
he turned it into Tony's chest and started acting like he was crying because he was acting like his feelings were hurt. It was a joke, but
It's like the Lavender Losers comment.
Yeah.
a little annoying.
Yeah, but to be fair, like
He's been a little annoying for-
this
Yeah.
has been his whole
Yeah.
personality.
Well, I'm super stoked that Devin and Corey are joining the house. I think they're going to be a really fun team to watch working together, trying to figure out how to compromise with each other to try to make it to the final. Devin, I don't know what he was playing for other than just to take out Johnny Bananas, but Corey is actually playing for his Baby Gap baby. His baby is a Baby Gap model, and she's the most beautiful child in the world. And so I thought it was really cool to see.
I can tell you what.
That's why
I can tell you what Devin's playing for. He's playing for $1 million.
Yep.
I mean, that's what
Yeah.
it comes down to.
Yeah, I get that.
Nothing else really matters. I don't think. Every one of them, like, that's big time money, and it potentially could be more than the $500,000, which it may not be that. It may be like 400 or something a piece because they have to do second and third. Or there's no second and third place.
No, it's
No.
only
Okay.
first
So
place.
it could be legitimately $1 million if you win and take it from your teammate at the end.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't think Devin would do that. Unless he and Corey just really get into it later down the road. I don't see him doing that. I don't see Corey doing that either.
I don't.
But I mean, that's just speculation. I
don't-
don't know that they're going to make first place in this season.
No, I
Who
mean it's a
knows?
long shot at this point. But I will say, I don't see Devin doing it off the top of my head. But at the same time, when you're faced with that decision, like the 500,000 or $1 million, like that's, I don't know what any of us would do until you're in that situation.
I don't know. Johnny Bananas is the only person that's done it so far.
He would do it. Tony, I think, would do it.
Tony would do it.
Zach and Amanda would do it to each other.
Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Brad and Kyle probably would do it to each other.
Brad has kids.
Yeah, and Brad would take it from Kyle and say, "I have kids."
Yeah.
Joss was devastated over Amanda going to the Redemption House. I think, he did,
Everyone was emotional tonight.
He did make a comment, which I've seen people on Twitter say, "I don't see how he likes Amanda. I don't understand it." And he said so tonight. He said she's done some things that are not too great, and I have also. And he's like, his quote was, "I'm gutted over this."
Yeah.
And I mean, he really is just torn up over it, which makes me think they are, at least during this time,
Yeah, I was about to say.
in a legitimate relationship.
I have not seen anything outside of the show.
I
no.
tried searching his Twitter and Instagram like last week just to see if she was on it even once. No.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't
Which
know.
is kind of sad. I like them as a couple. I like them together. It's interesting to see. I think they're cute together. It's just sad.
I did see he applied for his visa to come to the U.S. today.
Here's the
Oh, that's
interesting
cool. So
thing.
living in L.A.?
Here's the interesting thing that happened, which you probably won't be too happy about, is with Jose and Davon going into the Redemption House now.
Big
It-
brother's
Oh,
got
Polly
it
and
increases
Natalie.
Polly and Natalie's
And
chance.
they're probably going to pull the double cross again.
because if
Oh, they'll align with each other.
yeah,
Absolutely.
So whichever of those teams pull, they're going to bring the other with them.
Yeah.
But if Zach and Amanda pull it,
Or Kyle and Brad, or
they'll bring Kyle and Brad or Kyle and Brad.
Kaylee and
I think Cam and Kayla are in the most trouble. I
forgot they were even there.
I think they're
Yeah.
at the bottom of it.
literally the only time they were on the show tonight was talking about eyebrows for like 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah. Kaylee's Instagram eyebrows.
Yeah, so
They did look really good.
again, it was a huge win tonight. We're really looking forward to interviewing Corey this weekend.
Devin.
Oh, man.
What
I
are
lit-
you doing?
I just looked at Corey's name in my notebook. Yeah, we're interviewing Devin, not Corey. That wasn't an announcement.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're really
Corey's busy.
yeah, we're really looking forward to talking with Devin about everything. Just because, again, this elimination turned out way better than what we expected for our own personal sakes with him coming on the show. So
But also, we love seeing Devin on this show because he plays so well in so many different ways. And he's so entertaining.
So let's get into our superlatives for the night.
Who smashed some heads?
I think it's pretty unanimous. I know you said you've got a different take, but I think it's hard to argue anyone but Corey and Devin.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They won 2 eliminations.
Mine
yeah.
was the medallion that broke Zach's nose.
Literally smashed a head.
Well, that was my who got their head smashed, and I was like, Zach, literally. Yeah. I mean those are my 2, Corey and Devin, and then Zach literally got his head smashed in.
Well, last week I did an inanimate object. This week I'm doing the same thing. The medallion that broke his nose.
Who do you say got their head smashed?
Joss got his head and his heart smashed. And his gut smashed, apparently.
I actually didn't write down my superlatives. So
Why?
There's a lot on my mind. There was a lot that happened tonight, and
Okay, well,
but I like Dora. Dora's
you
here.
like Dora?
I like Dora, your cat. She just meowed.
Yeah.
You know what? You know what? Davon.
Got her head smashed.
Yeah. I'm big on the whole progression of getting your head smashed. Whether it's CT and eventually he's throwing on mustaches and
I forgot about
making graphs and charts and
like a crazy person.
She clearly did break tonight.
Yeah.
Yes,
she's at a breaking point.
It happened tonight.
Davon.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
I'm okay with that. What's your high school album of the week?
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. So I went heavier this week than what I've been doing.
Here we go. Heavy Lolo.
No, it's not that. Which is another high school band which does not work out. Like, they don't hold up. I went with Darkest Hour, Undoing Ruin. That's a great album, man.
It's a good
Still
one.
is. Darkest Hour's albums ever since then have been good too.
Was
but
Sanctuary the one after that? Is that the name of that album?
Demons.
Demons.
Yeah.
That's it. I like that album a lot too.
I like Undoing Ruin better. That was the one that really got me into them. Heavy band. They're just like a metal band, and really good guitar players. I love their vocalist. Like, he's right in that range where it just works perfect for them. Hannah probably would hate them, but I knew I liked them. I knew you liked them, and I still listen to Darkest Hour.
No, they're really good. They're really good. I bounced between a couple, so I'm gonna go with the one I had listed here and save the other one for next week.
That's what I'm doing. I had to.
This band you actually, and I'm talking to you because we didn't know each other, Hannah, as teenagers, and so we don't.
This
have
is the
all this
time
to
for
go
me
back on.
and Jake to reminisce on 10 years ago.
But you, I don't think ever got into this band. Oh Sleeper.
No.
When I Am God.
That was kind of after I kind of stopped listening to some of that.
Yeah.
And so.
They were very heavy, especially lyrically from a spiritual aspect. Like, it was just almost brutal. But musically, I thought they were incredible. They released a song in 2016 that's, in my opinion, it's called Oxygen, that I think is their greatest song ever, and then they haven't done anything since, and that upsets me. But When I Am God, their debut album, they had an EP before that, but that album is really good.
I may listen to him. I listened to Hope's Fall last week after we talked about it. So, Hannah, what about you?
Mine this week is the Essential Elvis Presley. It is a collection of all of his greatest hits.
That's a Filipino thing, though, right?
My Filipino grandmother was so obsessed with Elvis Presley that in her 1993 Nissan Pathfinder, she had a cassette player.
Yeah.
And in the console, she had a collection of several Elvis Presley cassettes. And so every time I came to stay with her, she would have one playing in the car. And when it reached the last song, she would have me eject the cassette and flip it over for the rest of the songs on the cassette.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was my entire childhood until I turned 16 and could drive myself to school.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of Elvis personally, but...
Oh, it's my whole childhood.
Yeah, I know.
It's a reminiscing thing for me.
My little brother
it's a
Jagger
comfort.
enjoys Elvis Presley.
I love young Elvis.
I will say real quick, I was going to do my three things. You know, I've thought about it, and I'm not above admitting when I'm wrong. That's not a good segment.
It's fine.
No, I'm not. I don't feel good about it. Every time
Okay.
I do it, I think, that didn't hit like I wanted it to.
You felt like you were forcing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
okay. We'll cut it this week.
I do forget about it every week, but
I
it's
forget
not
about it.
I'm cutting it going forward.
Okay.
It's not good.
Well,
I'm not doing
if
it.
we have any outcry, we'll consider
Yeah.
reinstating it. But
Okay.
The listeners can say if they want it back, but I'm not.
So today is October the 2nd. It's the first Tuesday in October. And as we are entering a new month and the leaves are changing colors outside, it's nice and orange and red and yellow everywhere, we decided to add a new segment just to kind of spice things up.
just to give a little bit more of our personal tastes on things.
Plus, this should be fun.
Yeah.
It's our recommended movie of the week, and this is coming from our collection of our top favorite movies of all time.
Oh, I didn't know that's what it was. I just was good. I mean, it's fine. Mine will work.
It's supposed to be from our favorite movies.
Yeah. No, I will say just on my end, it's not a movie that I think is like a work of art or like a beautifully like written or like whatever directed. It's just I'll go first because it's
I want to go last.
It's the movie that I have watched more than any other movie in my entire life.
Is it the movie about the birds?
Angry
Bird
Birds.
Apocalypse?
No,
Birdemic?
one is called Birdemic,
Birdemic.
and I've only seen it twice. I did make you watch that. No,
You were so excited about me watching that. Too.
yeah, it's great. If you like bad movies, watch Birdemic.
It's
love bad movies.
it's so bad. You
No.
have to watch it.
My recommendation is, and this is the correct title, D2 The Mighty Ducks. Not Mighty Ducks 2.
Nope, that's not correct.
It's D2 The Mighty Ducks.
And you will call someone out in a heartbeat.
Because again, I listen to Doug Loves Movies, and full title is
Full title.
It's the way that you gotta say things. So, I don't know why that movie just resonated with me as a little kid, and then I bought it on DVD in high school, and it's one like going back to what we were talking about before the show started. It's one of those movies that I can just put on at any time, and it doesn't bother me. Like I don't get bored with it. It's just right in that like perfect place of like nostalgia and still entertaining.
Yep.
And I don't think it's a masterpiece at all, but that's my recommendation for the week. Maybe I'll do some like pretentious, like artsy movies some other time, but that's not what it is
I
now.
don't like those.
Why? Because you're pretentious?
No, I mean my favorite movie is kind of out there as far as like whatever.
Okay. My movie recommendation this week is my number one all-time top of the list favorite movie of my entire life, The Breakfast Club.
That's
a good
all-time
one.
great.
I
It really is.
am such a huge Molly Ringwald fan. I've watched this movie so many times over
Speaking
the
of,
years.
Coach Bombay from the Mighty Ducks was in The Breakfast Club.
Emilio Estevez.
Yeah.
Est-
Estevez, that's right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Who is brothers with Charlie Sheen.
I didn't know that.
His dad is Martin Sheen, but he had a different name than the rest
I
of them.
see the resemblance.
Yeah.
Was it a different mom?
I think it's a stage name.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
There may be like half brothers or something, but
No.
they're
Emilio
brothers.
Sheen.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so I'm a really big Molly Ringwald fan. I found out recently she's still acting. She's in the new
She's in some-
Riverdale.
yeah, I was about to say, she's in a TV show,
She
yeah.
plays one of the main characters' moms. So she's actually like in the show a lot. And like I watched it and I was like, I know this person. I can't figure out who it is. And then I found out it's Molly Ringwald. She just doesn't look now like she did then, obviously.
wasn't she in an episode of How I Met Your Mother?
Never watched it. Never watched the show.
I don't know.
I think she was, but anyway.
So there's a purpose behind me picking this movie, because me being single,
Ready to mingle.
Ready
but
to
not on
mingle.
the market.
not on the market yet.
You're single, but almost ready to mingle.
Almost.
It's a soft launch. We talked about
Listen,
it
I
earlier.
had to take some time and just do me for a while and focus on me, and I'm working back into my flow. I've been out of the game for a while, so not that it's a game, because this is real people, real hearts we're
yeah.
talking about.
Do you think
No.
Zach and I were in a game?
No,
Is that what you think this
look,
is?
I'm just.
Jake, you haven't dated in years.
It's been a long time.
What? It's been like 10 years.
not I don't know, 7.
7-8 years,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. Anyway, so this movie, I believe, is one of the best movies you can pull and watch on a date night, a romantic night, if you want to curl up on the couch,
We don't have those.
maybe spoon
Yes,
for a
we do.
minute. P.S. I love you. It's the perfect balance of feel good, make you laugh a little
Who's in
bit.
that one again?
What?
Gerard Butler, Hilary Swank.
Oh, I've never seen it. Never seen it.
But it also pulls at your heartstrings.
Oh, Jake, I
Really
remember.
tugs at you.
I remember when that movie came out. I watched the trailer and I was like, "Oh, I'm never watching this movie."
Well,
I was thinking you were talking about Definitely Maybe, which is the Ryan Reynolds
That's also a
talking
good
to
one.
his Spencer Breslin as his daughter.
but
That is a good one.
there was a girl I was talking to 8 or 9 years ago now.
I'm
that
surprised you remember this.
she came over to the house and we watched this movie, and it didn't take long for us to cuddle up real fast.
Did she lean over and tell you that she loved you?
Did she go?
No, but she chilled at the house till about 5:30 in the morning.
When she left, she's like, all right, I'll see you later. And then she's like, P.S. I love you.
Is that what happened?
No. No, but and then I dated another girl Which
let's
And here
you
we
want
are.
me to stop talking
Here
about
we
it?
are.
no, let's
No,
run
I
this
don't know how comfortable you are talking about it.
let's run this in reverse, because
Okay.
you basically said this is a great movie for a date or whatever, and then you're like, but it didn't work out.
So
Yeah. What are you recommending?
I will just say, just so people don't think I'm like, is it like that I just don't date ever. I don't mind saying it. I'm not going to be heavy about it. I earlier this year got a divorce, and it was very civil. We tried, and
We haven't brought it up on the show.
we haven't.
Yeah.
There's been no need to.
No.
But I have no ill will towards her. I hope that everything goes great, but I needed to take time to just chill out and just focus on other things. But
This is after the divorce, not because of the divorce.
Right.
Like you
Right.
did not get a divorce because you needed to take time for yourself.
no, I needed to take time for myself because of the divorce. And so, anyway, that's why I'm still taking time. But when it comes time that I want to start dating again, this will be a go-to movie for me.
So, ladies,
Also, Christmas with the Cranks.
lady listeners, you heard it here first. On January 1st, you just
Seriously,
call
that's the
him
date.
up.
Yeah, she's right. That's the date
Call
that
him
I've.
up.
Yeah,
His number
Well,
is
really, you should do it on New
632.
Year's Eve.
used to be probably.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, we're
That's a fun segment.
yeah, it is
I like
fun.
that.
We'll do it more often, and we'll
Divorce segment.
No.
Yeah, I think the odds of us on this
Movies.
episode, how many like the over under on how many times we say divorce would have had to have been at like -1,
Yeah.
and we killed that. But yeah, we'll do this from now on, and
I have way more movies than I do high school albums.
it's probably neck and neck for me.
Yeah, that's you.
Well, me and him were just again we
We were more musically inclined
for
growing
sure.
up. So.
I just binge watched movies all the time.
Hannah played the flute in high school.
Nope.
She's never played it for
Nope.
me. She won't even ever
Nope.
like get
Why?
it out.
That's not true.
It is true.
Nope.
Why won't you play the
Nope.
flute?
She has it at her parents' house. She
Played
won't
the
get it out.
violin.
She played the flute.
I played the violin.
Would you play the violin?
I broke my bow though. It snapped in half.
Would you play the violin for
I
him?
can't. My bow is it
We
snapped
can
in half.
get you another bow.
You know what
Get
doesn't?
me another
Hey!
bow.
You know what doesn't need a bow? A flute.
Hey, would you play the violin on the podcast
No.
to close us out?
I don't even have it anymore. Like I literally don't know where it is.
Somebody's got a violin.
Her parents have her flute, so
I wish
I
you
don't.
played
I
the
never
flute.
played the flute. The flute is not a real instrument. It doesn't exist.
so yeah, we'll do this more often. Probably at the end of every episode, see how it goes. Reach out to us if you liked them or you agree or disagree, whatever. But
Reach out to us if you also agree that Molly Ringwald is one of the most fabulous ladies of the 80s. Just to prove my point that she's amazing.
Be on the lookout for my dog.
yeah, and
And Devin.
again, Devin is this weekend. We were recording on Friday, so we've got a couple days to get some questions in. Smashing Heads Podcast on Facebook, at Smashing Heads on Twitter, at Smashing Heads Podcast on Instagram.
Do not look up Smashing Heads PC. We are no longer pretty cute. Thank you, Zach.
Yeah.
We are ugly now.
And so that's where you can reach us. I float around Reddit some. You can reach me on there if you want. And again, just as we go out, just be looking for the Devin interview. Hopefully that'll be Saturday or Sunday when that drops. It'll depend on how long it takes to edit. But again, hit us with your questions. And as always, we'll see you guys next week.
Have a great night, everyone.
God dog it, are you serious?